Hello, hello, everybody. How y'all doing? I feel like every time I want to talk about this subject, something is off. This time, I'm just a little bit under the weather. Nothing is really bothering me with the current subject, except me being a bit just under the weather. It's been very annoying technical stuff with my backups to my videos and things like that. Got a bit screwed, and it took me a long time to fix up. So I'm like, right now. So welcome to the live stream. Please subscribe, join the channel, follow Rebecca on Instagram and Twitter, hit the thumbs up. It helps recommend the channel to more people. Thank you, Shayna, for being here. Thank you. So how are you all today? Are you guys ready to talk about conversion? Guys, come. Hello. Hi, Jax. How you doing? Hey, Rob. Shalom, shalom. So actually tomorrow. Hello, Sister Rebecca. How are? Oh, okay. Listen, I have so much to tell you. So, except for my computer acting up, tomorrow I also have a potential tour. I mean, I say potential because I can always bail at the Intelligence Center with the other creators, influencers, whatever you call it. And it's where the Intelligence Center is an area that is open to outside visitors, but it's next to the bases I used to serve in, which also, and yesterday with all the Iran, I don't know, it just brought up so many memories from my service. Yeah, I was like, for some reason, I was like, I just remembered how I felt like when I was serving there. And it's just stress all the time. Everything happens all the time. Everything is super urgent. I like at the in my during my service, like I've developed like a complete dislike to my phone and getting messages or phone calls or anything like that, because it was like 24/7. 24/7 I could get a call, and then, or like, and like I would get asked things, and like, it was all so it was hard in a sense. Like, I know I wasn't in a combat station, but this like constant mental alertness was very, very exhausting. And it's an exhibition that talks about the unfolding what happened on October 7th, which just the thought of it makes me super depressed, to be honest. So, yeah. Let me see what you guys. Hello, hello, everyone. Can you guys hear fine and everything? Is the volume fine? Ashena. To see the new IDF film from October 7th, or the American group that are coming in. There you can see footage from October 7th that didn't go public there, yeah. Which I am definitely not looking forward to. I don't know, maybe I complained to, like, I said it to my dad, and my dad was like, you don't have to go. It's like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to deal with everything that's depressing in this world. You can be like, I can be like, more selfish, and I'll try to be not as soft-spoken. I'm sure I'll wake up with as we go with the subject. Yeah, but I also want to go to for you guys, so I can take photos there of everything, and then I can display it. So yeah. Brendan, thank you so much for the super chat. Praise Lam, Josin, or Brendan Lefton. I want to pronounce the full name. Praise Lam, Jews in Arabia would only conduct business with fellow Jews, so many Arabs converted to Judaism. It would be cool if that happened these days. They would see their society blossom. True, true, true. Yeah, Shayna. It's your choice. You can ask to see it later if it helps your mental. No, so they're. It's like the last. They're opening this exhibition for us, but then they're gonna disassemble it. So it's last chance to see it, watch it. Which is like I can guess what's there and how it looks like. I have enough experience with these things to I know what I'm going. I feel like I know what I'm gonna see, and I just don't want to see it. Yeah. So I'll see. I'll see. We'll see. All right. I want to talk about conversion to Judaism. Let me see. It's amazing. Like, I want to see chose to be chosen. This is what I wrote on my thumbnail. And I also, the Why to Convert to Judaism and Convert Stories. I think that was not my original title, but let me say something because I think as a Jew myself, would I have ever thought to convert to Judaism? Now I might have, but when I was younger, when I were younger, I always thought like, why would you choose to punish yourself with turning yourself into a Jew? I was like thought people who converted to Judaism were absolutely crazy. It's one thing when you're born to it, and then it's really hard to let go of it. But it's a different thing when the way I imagine it, right? Now I think it's a bit more complex than that because I'm an adult and my mind is a little bit more capable of understanding complexities. Is that why would you choose to be like I thought to myself, right? To be Jewish when it's like having a heavy burden. That's what I felt. It's like you're carrying this responsibility, this burden, even if you're not an observant Jew. It's like you have this extra weight on you all the time. Why would anyone choose to take this weight on them as well? That was my thought process, as well as I thought like other nations, other people, they're free. Like they don't have any responsibility on them. That's just like, as a child. But even now, I think there is more lightness with other, even though I understand that it depends if you're like born into a strict Christian family or you're born into Muslim but I feel like it's a completely different kind of sensations, to be honest, because I think it's not if it's just like fighting the faith-based Judaism, which it's I'm not really part of. I wouldn't want to be part of a Hasidic family or anything like that. But that doesn't mean that there is no influence on Judaism into who I am and my life. There's just like this basic. I feel like if you choose to be Jewish, it's like this is now part of you, and you can be as atheistic and non-observant as much as you want, but it's not gonna take this weight out of your shoulders, even if all your family is supportive and all your surrounders are all right with that. So I always thought like these people are crazy. And the more I dive into actual convert stories, I have to say that I think that my initial observation is true. Yeah, they are crazy. Beautiful stories, beautiful people, amazing people, really admirable people, but strong-willed and like they know, like it's like this willingness to fight for truth that is absolutely borderline crazy. So let's look at those people who chose to be chosen. Uh, wait, I want to see the comments just a sec before I start diving into different stories, because I have several, because they're all very different. So, okay, so let me go through them. So there is the story, for example, of Dor Shahar, which grew up in Gaza. So this story is special because he converted from heart, right? Like the thing is, like, when he went through the conversion process, when he had his final exam, the rabbis were just, they had all agreed, the Beit Din, you have rabbis that are like, they judging you, so they're supposed to ask you questions and see how knowledgeable you are. So Dor Shachar is a case of like, this is so special because the rabbis all agreed among themselves that they're not going to ask any questions. And to be honest, because there is a good chance that even if they had asked questions, he would have not have known how to answer them. But he really, like, this is an interesting story, because like, this is a convert that converted from the heart, not through necessarily through usual way it happens, that it's either through community, or how do I say it, or it's usually more logical process, I think. And not necessarily, but like, it's a special case, because that to be in a state where the rabbis are like, we're not going to ask you a question, you pass, whether whether you can answer anything that comes to Judaism or not, you pass. That's a very, very special story, because this is somebody who really, really, really wanted to be part of the Jewish people. Yeah. Even without diving into too deep into the theology, just by the way it felt to him that the Jews are, he knew he wanted to be part of that. And another story that I'm gonna talk about here. No, this I'll see. No, this one I also, wait. Okay, here. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about it, but this is not the. So Bnei Moshe, Inca Jews, it's another crazy story, because this is a story that it's a Native American community that had priests coming over to it, trying to convert them into Christianity, and they didn't like it. But those priests, if I remember, they left the Bibles behind them, and they started reading the Bibles, and they realized that they like the Bible. They don't really like Christianity that much, but like, they like the Bible, so they started observing the laws of the Bible. And they went and looked for a rabbi, and they talked to several rabbis, and one rabbi agreed to talk to them, heard their story, and they say, listen, we have encountered this book, the book that you wrote, like the Jewish people wrote. We like the description of what it says, the lifestyle that it inscribes, so we want to be part of it. And they all moved to Israel. Yeah, like, as a group, as a community, a Native American community that converted to Judaism, moved to Israel, which is another crazy story. This is another Dor Shachar. And Timur David Aklin is an Israeli Arab. I'm sorry. I want to bring myself down so you can see his name, Timur. So he's here, I'm gonna move it like this, and then you can see the name. So here's another story. So what's interesting with his story is that the way he converted to Judaism is because he went to a mixed school. I think it was a Christian school in in Jaffa, and I have actually, I know this school. I have somebody who I served with. She also went to that school, and she's Jewish, so it's a mixed school. So they also had a mandatory, because of this being mixed school in Jaffa, and he comes from a Muslim family. They had mandatory once, I think once a week, they had to study the Bible, the Tanakh, or in the Bible, and he just really liked the stories there, and he asked for his mom to buy him tapes with stories from the Bible, and he just really liked the content. And from there, he found an alternative way of living that is very different from what he was learning at home, where kindness was punishable. He said every time he showed kindness or niceness where he grew up, he he was punished for it because it was seen as a negative trait. And another conversion story that I really liked, even though I have also, I didn't know, is the House of Lev. I don't know if you guys know them. They're super cute. Like they are a whole family. They are, and they have this amazing story where they started off being very conservative Christians, and um, I think the mother is Chava and the father is Akiva, but they had different names before they converted, which I think was, I don't know, Daniel for her, I think, but they had different names. And so I just thought their story is super interesting, because what happened was he was very Christian, she wasn't so Christian, and by asking questions, by going like just asking questions, they had felt like they're not living the way Jesus expects them to live. So they because they wanted to be because they wanted to be Christians, like so properly Christians, they started reading and reading and reading, and the more they read, they were like, oh, we feel like because the way Christianity is built, that we are actually following Paul more than we are following Jesus. So if we want to be like Jesus, we have to live the way Jesus lived. To start, what are you guys chatting? Okay, so yeah, so this is why they had ended up trying to follow Jesus more, and that brought them deeper, and there were more questions that they had. They're not Messianic Jews. They're 100% completely Jewish. That is just that by studying more and more, they had left, like they had, I think, kind of gradually moved from Christianity to Judaism until they converted to a fully Orthodox, hardcore Orthodox. I'm not even sure it's modern Orthodoxy. I think it's like hardcore Orthodoxy in Judaism. By the way, another famous convert is Trump. Yes, Trump, Melania Trump. Maybe I should find her story as well. And she did. Is it Melania? What's the name of the? No, Ivanka Trump. I'm sorry, Melania is the mother. She also conversion. And she has I think, the more classical story of meeting a guy. His family had it was really, they had to break up because of their religion differences. So yeah, and then she I mean, I actually can bring the story. I don't want to, but yeah, I think it's classical. It's like you meet someone, their family is opposed to them being with someone who is not Jewish. Yeah, Jared Kushner. And then some convert. Yeah, Nissim Black is another one, but Nissim, let me find him. Conversion. I tried listening to his story, but it's so complex when it comes. I feel like Nissim Black that I was like, I have no idea how to summarize what he went through, like how he became Jewish. It's like I feel like the others are like easily summarized, and his story is a bit more complex. So I thought let's watch a couple of clips from Dor Shahar because I think it's inspiring. I also, yeah. I feel like, and there are two videos because they both have subtitles, which I think is amazing. Yeah, let's watch this a little bit.
הגעת הביתה אחרי בית ספר. כשאני נכנס מהדלת, אני רואה חבל תלוי מהתקרה. גז דלוק, אש. אבא שלי התלבש בגדים של חמאס, סכין ביד, ורק רואים את העיניים שלו. את המוות ראיתי. אני רואה את הפנים של הנרצחים, של הנחטפים. פחד. את המוות. ומסתכלים על הפנים של הרוצחים, הפנים האלו אני מכיר אותם. כן, אני מכיר אותם.
Yeah, growing up in Gaza is kind of scary, to be honest.
קוראים לי דור שחר, בן 46, מראשון לציון, לשעבר.
Do you guys want me to repeat what he's saying in English as well? Or I mean, I guess if you're in the chat, then you're not gonna be the only listening people. The only people who actually just listen and not watch are those who are not in the chat. But yeah, so his family was ready to get rid of him because he was a rebel child and he didn't express joy at the prospect of eliminating his neighbors. So he just described the way his father met him after school, or like one day, like, you know, just
עבר איימן אבו סובח מרצועת עזה בח'אן יונס, פלסטינאי מוסלמי. הדבר הראשון שאני זוכר שהייתי ילד, סבא שלי היה יושב איתי והוא אומר לי, היהודים לקחו את האדמה שלנו.
The first thing he remembers is his grandfather telling him that the Jews had taken their land.
זה המסגד, כל שישי, שייך, נותן שיעור שלו, להרוג יהודים. זה המצווה הכי גדולה להרוג יהודים, מובטח לו גן עדן. אבא שלי שומע שרצחו יהודי, ואני שומע אותו שאומר תודה לאל על הרצח של היהודים, שזה היה לי הזוי כי הוא עבד 27 שנה בארץ. כשהייתי בן 3, הוא הולך עם אמא שלי לשוק כדי לקנות לי ממתקים. ובדרך אני רואה ראש של מישהו מתגלגל כמו כדור.
Yeah. That's one heck of a story. I cannot even imagine like growing up in a place where the greatest deed is killing other people.
נראית את העיניים למעלה, רואה אנשים על עמודי חשמל וחשמלות המאדמה הזאת. שקוראים לזה משתפים פעולה עם ישראל. ראיתי את זה. כשהתחלתי ללמוד בבית הספר, נכנס מורה עם חליפה ועניבה, נראה שהוא מכובד. וזה התחיל כך, שיהודים רוצחים, ילדים, נשים, גברים וזקנים. היהודים לקחו את האדמה של הסבא שלכם. כל הארץ היא פלסטין. וכל התלמידים קופצים ואומרים אללהו אכבר, אטבח אל-יהוד, שזה אומר...
Yeah, it just reminds me of what I'm probably gonna see tomorrow. Because they have a lot of exhibitions there of things they've confiscated as well. So there are guns, there are educational materials where they show how they teach children to become murderers, sociopathic murderers. Yeah. And like they torture people out in public. That to be honest, like they're probably just targeted for no real reason most of the time.
בשם עולאים גדול, לשחוט את היהודים. אני באותו רגע לא הרגשתי טוב. ביקשתי מהמורה לצאת החוצה לשטוף פנים, כי אני לא מרגיש טוב. מיד חטפתי סטירה. בורח לכיוון הים. והיה בחניון, היה שם בסיס של הצבא. הייתי יושב שם ליד. ואז, כשאני פוגש את החיילים, שמגיעים לשטחים ומשחקים אותנו כדורגל, מקבל סוכריה מהחיילים. ואני לוקח את העטיפה ורץ הביתה, לאבא שלי, הוא אומר לאבא, תביא לי סוכריות כאלו, אני רוצה. הוא אומר, למה קיבלת? אמרת הוא מיהודים? הוא קם בזעם, בעצבים באים עליי, שאני לא אקח שוב. ואז ראיתי גם אנשים שהם יהודים באים מישראל לח'אן יונס, לעזה, לשוק, כדי לקנות דברים, כי שם יותר זול מהארץ.
Okay, guys, this part is important. This part is like, because he saw two things. At home, he would be taught how to kill Jews, but in the market, the same people that would describe how much they hate Jews and plan to kill them and would rejoice of their murder and just, they would hug the Jews that would come shopping. They would be like, oh, we're like, act like we're best friends. Yeah. Just like, you know, like your beautiful newcomers at the West, they probably act in the same way.
בגיל 12 וחצי, הילד הלא מוצלח ולא יוצא ממנו כלום. מה עושים אותו? לוקחים אותו לעבודה. אז אבא שלי לקח אותו לעבודה. כל יום אחרי העבודה התחלתי לחפש מקומות איך אני בורח. ממש עשיתי תוכנית. אחרי 3 חודשים, ראתה בנייה, הוא קם בבוקר, לא מצא אותי. ואני הייתי במקום רחוק ממנו. עובד בשמירה, לשמור על אתר בנייה בלילה, בשכונה של אבלות. וערב אחד בא איזה דתי, כשאני יושב על המדורה קטנה שותה תה, ושאל אותי, שאלה ראשונה, איפה אבא שלך? אמרתי לו, אלה אבא. הוא חזר אחרי חצי שעה, עם מרק חם, אוכל, צעצועים, משחקים, בגדים. הייתי כל הערב בא אליו ואוכל ארוחת ערב איתו. התקרב חג הפסח, ואז ישבתי לידו והוא סיפר לי, אנחנו עם סגולה, אנחנו עם נבחר, אנחנו עם חופשי. אני לא יודע עברית, אבל מה שיצא לי מהפה בעברית, אני רוצה להיות יהודי.
See, this is the craziness of his story. Like, he had no idea what's going on and what does it mean to be Jewish. He just like, he just wanted to be one. I mean, for reasonable reasons. How come nobody made a video going through the entire UNRWA school book found in Gaza? It's the same school book. I think they teach about the same thing as they teach in the West Bank. So their teaching materials are not that different. And I did have on my video about Judaism versus Islam on laws of war, I did bring some teaching materials from the Palestinian Authority. The thing is that they are very, very, very disturbing materials. Yeah, even if it's not directly connected to Jews, like their world perception and their understanding of morality is so wrapped and skewed that it's literally scary.
זה משהו בנשמה. יכול להיות שאתה מזהה שזה העם שלך, שזה השורשים שלך, ומשהו בנשמה שהוא נרגע. זה מזכיר כמו סיפור של אברהם אבינו, שהיה בן 3, שהקדוש ברוך הוא אמר, לך לך, תעזוב את המשפחה שלך ואת החברים שלך, פשוט לך לך. התחלתי ללמוד ביהדות, למדתי בישיבת הסדר בראשון לציון, ואחרי 10 חודשים שלחו אותי לקרון מאיר, איפה הרב דב בגון. הרב שלי היה הרב דור שרקי, ואז הוא שאל אותי, ואם יגיירו...
Wait. His rabbi was Sherky? Wait, what?
ואם יגיירו לקרון מאיר, איפה הרב דב בגון. הרב שלי היה הרב דור שרקי.
This Rav was Uri Sherky.
ואם יגיירו אותך, מה תעשה?
Yeah, my mom knows him from somewhere. She was about to tell me the whole story, and then something popped up. Anyway, cool dude. I also did his, when he appeared on Channel 14, where he talked about the morality in the army, the differences between like the Christian morality, Jewish morality, and things like that. I had translated it in one of my Breaking the Language Barriers videos.
אמרתי כבוד הרב, אם אני לא יהודי, אז אין לי חיים. התגיירתי, הייתי במקווה בירושלים, יהודי לכל דבר. כשנכנסתי למקווה, זו חוויה מדהימה, זה כל הכאב, כל הסבל.
I mean, this is a bit shortened and like with added music for drama. The whole story is way crazier. Because the system to convert as somebody from Gaza to go through it, it's a whole process that wasn't at all easy. At all. So, let's see if I can. Also in Hebrew. Did you guys watch it? It's an amazing story. Yeah, I tried to become Jewish multiple times. Oh, look, let me see what things were watched the most, because I think that maybe it's the most interesting parts.
ואחרי תקופה בא מורה עם חליפה ועניבה ונראה מתוקתק מכובד. בגובה של 1.95 מטר. אל ישכח, הוא נכנס מהדלת ותכופף, בכותוב הילדים, בכותוב המורה. היום אישור מיוחד. איזה התרגשות. איזה התרגשות. אמרתי, בטוח, הוא ילמד אותנו מה זה רופאה, איך להיות רופאים. התרגשות. בחיים שלי הייתי מתרגש ככה. והתחיל ככה שיהודים רוצחים ילדים, נשים, גברים, זקנים. שיהודים לקחו את האדמה של הסבא שלכם. וחייבים להרוג אותם עד טיפת האחרונה ולהחזיר את כל האדמה. מי שרוצח יהודי, הוא מובטח לו גן עדן. הכי קרוב לעולם, כאילו הוא נביא. ואם הוא נהרג על יד יהודי, הפך להיות שהיד, אז הוא נכנס לגן עדן ומקבל 72 בתולות.
This is the best thing you need to learn when you're a 6-year-old, that you're gonna get virgins. This is exactly age appropriate.
היהודים פעם היו כופרים, גם הנוצרים. שמישהו לא מאמין בקוראן במוחמד, הוא כופר. ומה דינו? להרוג אותו. בשם מה? בשם אללהו אכבר, לה אלה אלה לה, ומוחמד רסול אללה. שזה אומר בשם אלוהים, אלוהים גדול, ואלוהים אחד ויחיד, והנביא של אלוהים זה מוחמד, זה אסלאם. היהודים יש להם 3 רגליים. ילד שחלום שלו לא יתרופה.
Yeah. So I think it talked about that it was like 1st or 2nd grade that they had this special class where they had a practical lessons on how to kill Jews.
זה אותו מורים, וזה אותו...
But he didn't participate because he said he was feeling sick, so he got beaten up.
ספר. זה לא אומרים שיש אזרחים טובים יש להם בית ספר שונה וספר שונה ומורים שונה. זה לא
I kind of feel like it's beside the point though for us today. So I feel like we should go through maybe a different story. I hope that maybe there is a shortened version here about how did he convert. Yeah, it's okay. What are you? Oh, here is in channel 14.
תימור דוד.
Okay, but
נכון?
it's not gonna have subtitles. Yeah, Timor is a really nice story. Like but to be honest, just hearing like how different their he has versions with subtitles. Anyway, kind of depressing. Okay, let me go to this story, the House of Lev. I don't know, like, about converting. By the way, I also brought the Chok HaShvut. This is the technical things that when it comes to converting to Judaism. So converting to Judaism is also actually turns you to a Jew, and as a Jew, you're also allowed to you can get Israeli citizenship. So there is the whole story of how exactly that came to fruition. So there is a whole thing about what exactly kind of conversions were allowed, because it was first only some conversions were accepted, and after some time they decided to also accept reform and conservative conversion. But there is a thing that is like you have to live in a community for some time before you can also actually get the certificate to convert. Do you guys have any questions? Because I kind of feel like if there are any, because it's a lot of like basic like legal stuff that are kind of boring. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Here's the other story I want to say, like, why did they convert to Judaism? Here, the journey.
Okay. Microphone check. 1, 2.
They're so cute. They're so cute. And they have this video where they accept that they are like giving a Torah story about how to treat people who converted to Judaism. and that it's very important to accept them to. So, and they did it. It was so genuine. I was like amazing. Like they're doing amazing job being Jewish.
Can you hear me? Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. It's time.
It's time.
You ready to do it? Ready to talk about this? Boom. Okay, so we are with Ladero in your hearts, and if you've been on our channel already, you know that we talk a lot about marriage and family and all that stuff. We like to have fun. We got some videos about our kids being pushed in boxes and you know, running around doing all kinds of fun stuff, and you know, we're all about family. And that's the whole basis of our channel, right? We want to elevate marriage and the family unit. It's very, very important for us. But at the same time, we're on a very, very special journey, a very special journey. And we are in the process of converting to Judaism. And we've mentioned it in a few of our videos, just a little bit, but we've never gone into detail about how we got here. Because we would say, you know, we're excited to be on this journey to Judaism, but what does that mean? How do we get here? And so that's why we kind of changed up the scenery a little bit. We got a horizontal thing going on because we sit back, we chilling, and we're going to talk about this life.
Yeah, we're excited to just be.
And I think after that, you guys, if there are any specific convert stories you want to hear, but I want to talk about the process on conversion as it is reflected in the Bible as well.
Be vulnerable and to share our journey. I think it's important for people to hear about what it looks like to go through a conversion process.
Yeah.
And, you know, to help maybe others out there. We get to hopefully maybe inspire other people who are going through this journey as well, too, and want to know what it's like. And so.
Conversion does not appear in the Tanakh, there is conversion in the Tanakh. For example, the Canaanites that worked for Israelites or were slaves or whatever, they to become later on to, like they went through a process, but they had to go to a mikveh as well. They had to be, and getting dunked into water, which is definitely part of the process to convert to Judaism. So yes, there was a conversion in the Bible as well. In the Tanakh, it does appear. And maybe it doesn't appear the way you expect it to appear, but it does appear. And of course, there is a story of Ruth, which is the classical explanation to why. It's a story that also says, hey, we need to also accept and respect converts, and this is a story where they show like this crazy conversion story where the hero ended up being the great grandma of the most important figure in Jewish history, the greatest king, as well. Because there were also things like those. Treating converts or accepting converts, those things were a lot of it. There were a dilemma. So the Ruth story is also answering this dilemma, like how do we treat and how if we accept converts.
So we felt on our hearts that it was important for us to share that journey.
Yeah, and we also think it's very important that we give you context so that you can understand our content. We talk about marriage, we talk about family, but if you don't understand why we say what we say, then what we say will probably be a little bit confusing. Mm-hmm. So that's why we think it's very important that we talk about how we got here, so that way you can understand our foundation and our come from. So grew up in an incredible family. Beautiful, beautiful family, very family oriented, and I love my family so much. And I'm sure some of my family are watching right now. I love you guys. And I was born and raised Christian, and so I mean we were going to church multiple times a week and did that whole thing. And so when we got married, my wife, she wasn't, super religious or anything like that. And like I said, I was born Christian. And so she became Christian once we got married.
Yeah, yeah. And like he said, I'm just so grateful for my mother. My mother was a single mom raising me, and she did a phenomenal job. So, Mom, if you're watching this, I love you. I respect you so much. I believe that I am the woman I am because of you. But one thing that I can say that I'm very proud of my mother is that I always saw her praying. And I know that my mom, she was raised Catholic, but she really kind of grew out of that, as she was growing up. And she just went on her own spiritual journey, and I respect her so much for that. And me just watching, I learned a lot by watching more than her telling me. And so we weren't really raised, going to church or anything like that. But my mom did pray every single night, and I think I learned a lot from her just praying and have that relationship with God.
Yeah. So, moving forward, about 4 or so years ago, I received a phone call from one of my cousins, who will remain anonymous. But he gave me a call, and we were talking about life and what we always do. And he threw something in my ear that kind of, it changed my life. And he mentioned, I'm going to give you the short version of kind of what we talked about. But he mentioned that he talked about he talked about Jews being in Africa. He was talking about African Jews and all these different things. And I've never heard anything like that. Mm-hmm. And so that really sparked my interest. And because I've never really seen any black or Jews of color or anything like that. And so that really, really sparked my interest. And obviously, if you've had these type of thoughts before, or you've...
So this is an interesting thing about when it comes to the... I remember asking at the time, because I actually made a section about why are Jews white in my original video on anti-Semitism, but then I ended up not including it because it was more like a technical explanation of how and who turned white and why. But then when I met AP, when we were here, I asked him, hey, how much is it a real thing that there is a claim that the Jews originally are supposed to be black, and that how common is this? And he's like, no, it's not common at all. Nobody thinks like that. Nobody believes in it. But really, I'm not sure. So my impression that when I hear, even now that they mention it, my impression was that a lot of people believe it in the in the African American community, that Jews are supposed to be black. So is it a common belief or is it not? I'm very confused.
Doug, you've did some research. You already know the rabbit hole that you're gonna go down. You're gonna see all different types of things and all different types of information. And so we went on that journey.
Yeah.
And but I'll say this: as we were learning and uncovering things and discovering things, every single stop that we made to get us to this point right here, to where we're going through an Orthodox conversion, every single stop that we made was very, very impactful.
Yeah.
It was 100% needed. We learned so much, met some incredible people, built incredible relationships along the way, and every single stop was necessary for us. Mm-hmm. And so, but yeah, it's a rabbit hole for sure. You're gonna find a lot of different things. As we started digging.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so it's either you dig enough to believe that Jews have horns and stole away the Torah from the black people, or you dig enough to... Let's find out.
We were very intrigued. We became very intrigued about the Jewish people. Mm-hmm. And we were aware of Jews because I would do like Postmates on like a Friday night and walking around at nighttime, and they're in these little communities, and I just, we just never looked into it, as to wanting to maybe get a deeper understanding of who they are and things like that. As we start,
I'm happy they didn't encounter Neturei Karta when they wanted to. I mean, I guess that how easy it is, because okay, there aren't a lot here. There are some Neturei Karta here. Is anyone here from New York and knows if it's easy to interact with someone who is from Neturei Karta?
we started learning, we became very intrigued about who these wonderful people were, and we fell in love. We literally fell in love, and we started looking at their culture and their family unit, how together they are, their communities, and how they stick together. And then we started learning about Shabbat and this 25-hour.
By the way, Shabbat is really big with keeping a community together, a family together. Like Oliver, John Oliver. This reminds me of John Oliver. I can't believe that my mind was, because I made this observation when he mentioned like having a family dinner at Thanksgiving talking about politics. And I was like, of course, if you meet up your family once a year and this is your choice of conversation, it's kind of problematic. Meeting your family every Friday does really help a lot, because if you spend that one Friday talking about politics, it's not that bad. The next Friday you can talk about something else.
This 25-hour time frame where they unplug from the world to connect to spirituality. Absolutely incredible. And their relationship with God was incredible.
I think that was the greatest thing that Ladero and I could have done.
Shayna is saying, Neturei Karta I have no contact with. The Satmar Rebbe issued a cherem on them. When did he issue a cherem? Okay, so I saw that October 7th happened or before, is and I said if crazy people like the Satmar think that you're crazy, you have to be crazy, extremely crazy, because the Satmar are also kind of crazy and also pretty anti-Zionistic, but Neturei Karta are insane. So that's interesting to me. To me, I don't for me specifically, I don't like any kind of Messianic Jews, even Jews that don't believe Messiah had come yet, and it's about, there is some character that is about to come. I don't like Messianic. I don't like Messianicism at all. I think it's completely out of the Torah. It's a concept that came to fruition during the exile, because of the exile. It's something that was it was just a character where you put your hope on. I just don't think it's a healthy character to believe in at all. So I know a lot of Orthodox Jews, I feel that they feel like they cannot go back to Israel, or they cannot start building the third Israeli kingdom until the Messiah comes. And to me, I feel like these people are shooting themselves on the leg, really. And for sure, it's not gonna be. I don't know. I just don't like this. I like somebody who said that the Mashiach is not a person, it's a generation. It's a generation that will unite, and everybody would do their parts. But I don't love this idea that you cannot go on with your life until you get a special invitation from God to start taking, picking yourself up from the ground. I don't like it as a concept.
Have done was to go down that journey of wanting to learn more about Judaism, especially
Ken Sweetheart, the one that brings different Ishaya and also Psalms. They're all they're not, this is not Torah. This is part of the Tanakh, the Old Testament, but this is not the Torah.
Especially being raised Christian, I think that was the greatest gift that we could have done, is to educate ourselves. Yeah. Right? There's nothing wrong with educating yourself about, you know, different religions and wanting to understand, because if you understand, or
Rebecca aren't 95% of just definitely not. No. I mean, the Rambam with this, I don't like the list the Rambam made. I don't like that Rambam added it to 13 Karei Emunah, that they brought the belief in Messiah. No, I dislike it completely. I think it goes against the spirit of Judaism. That much, this is how much I don't like it. I really believe it goes against the spirit of Judaism, because because Judaism was built around a nation, not individuals. So those people who are messianic in their thinking in any way, shape, or form, I think this goes against the OG Judaism. So yeah, I am against it. Like, I would argue with anyone about it. Shayna, why is it not changing? Come on. No, Shayna, I want Shayna. And Neturei Karta was issued by the Satmar Rebbe, article November. Yeah, so after October 7th, that makes sense. Yeah, the Cherem, because they went to, like, they crossed the line. They 100%.
or you at least know something about another religion, then it allows you to have more respect for that person, sure, the individual. That allowed us to have more respect and understand the Jews of, first of all, why, you know, we were asking, okay, why are they walking on Fridays? Why are they always walking? If you're going to ask the question or be curious about it, you should probably educate yourself on why they do what they do. If you understand why people do what they do, then it's going to make a lot more sense to you. Yep. And so that's where our curiosity came from, and allowed us to just grow more and more and deeper and fall more and more in love with the Jewish people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, you know, the reason, you know, I know some people might ask us, you know, so why Judaism? Yeah. Why did we choose to go down this path? And what was it that, you know, allowed...
Wait, I have to answer. Did you compare Harry Potter with the Quran? Akun Fatim asks. I want to say that unlike the Quran, which we don't know where those verses came from, is it from the Satan? Is it from Jibril? Is it from the Allah? We don't know, because Muhammad said that some of it was from Satan and some of it from the devil, some of it from, you know, from different sources. At least we know that who wrote Harry Potter. So that's one bonus point to Harry Potter books, if you ask me.
Allowed us to really kind of change from Christianity to this. And I think, honestly, for Ladero and I, it was just this yearning for an understanding of more of who Hashem is. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, for us, we just weren't growing really spiritually where we were at. And so had just this desire. So when his cousin brought up that conversation, that just sparked us to really want to go deeper, because we were searching. We were looking for answers. And I can just tell you that when we started learning about Judaism, I just felt like a light bulb went off. And everything was just making so much sense. What I love about Judaism is that whatever questions you have, there's an answer. And there's a reason why you do.
No. They are wrong here. Whatever question you have, you're going to have 20 answers. And you can choose your favorite one.
Do what you do. You don't do things just to do it. But there's a reason, and it's...
Plus, I think for some questions, Jews became so creative just to answer some questions. Like every ridiculous question was like, that's a legitimate question. And then they went crazy with their imagination to try to answer the craziest questions as well. I think it became like a game at some point.
It's so beautiful. Everything in Judaism has a purpose.
Yeah. One thing that we were able to connect to.
Pathetic, hermetic. Harry Potter was written by a decent human being. Yes, if there is something that time proves is that J.K. Rowling is indeed a decent human being, which fails for Muhammad and every version of him. Yeah.
To was the fact that Judaism gave us a structure to our spiritual life. How do you
By the way, my favorite thing that they're doing, if you ask me, as Jews, is that they are moving to Israel. Because I really, really, really think that if you follow OG spirit of Judaism, you understand that Judaism is a nationality. Foremost, like this is why you have to be part of a community, but a community is just a shadow of a nation. So, and we have our borders, we have clear borders of where we're supposed to be. So I feel like they're like, when I heard like why I love them, like, by the way, all of the converts I talked about, like they all moved to Israel. It's like, this is where I was like, yes, real Jews. And those rabbis that, you ask them, like, why are they not moving here? They give you, like, lame excuses when they know there is no justification for it. I was like, just say it, okay? I don't keep kosher. I know that I don't follow all the mitzvahs. You can do the same and just say, I don't follow all of them too. Even though I'm pretending like I keep kosher like crazy, but in reality, like, I don't follow all of them, because you cannot follow all of them, because sometimes some things are hard to do and not comfortable, and people choose their comforts and uncomforts, right? It's like, for me, it's like, nah, I'm too much of a culinary, like, most of the time I eat kosher, right? But I'm too much of a culinary curious person to eat kosher and keep kosherness. Even though I guess, like, the vast majority of the time I do it, it's mostly kosher food. But, like, okay, so, like, no, I'm not gonna skip on trying something that looks interesting to me because it's not kosher. No, but I know that I'm going outside of my religion. And you're like, you guys with your excuses, just say the truth. You're just going outside. Be honest. I just don't like this concept of not being honest. And they're good Jews. I'm giving them these good Jews. They studied properly. They went through everything properly. And they're moving to Israel. Like, they're really somebody, like, they're really, you can strive to be like them. I give approval. If that's far everything I've seen, I'm like giving my approval.
How do you pray? How do you connect to God? How do you do this? How do you grow in your marriage, right? Judaism gave us a structure to be able to really connect to the infinite one, the creator of the universe. That's what we really yearned for, was how do you grow spiritually? And Judaism really gave us that. People have asked us, well, don't the Jews have 613 commandments? Isn't that too much? Why are they? And then they would say, why so many restrictions? And so we've learned to look at it as, man, the Jews don't have 613 restrictions. The Jews have 613 opportunities to connect. That's what those commandments are. They're opportunities to connect. They're not restrictions. It's not telling you what not to do and keep a person bound. No, those commandments, for us, and this is our views, this is how we look at it, but those commandments allows you to be free. There's freedom in being able to connect to the creator of the universe. Is beautiful.
Absolutely. And so we are going to be doing more videos.
See, they're just too good to be true. They're like, whoa.
Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Ladero and Danielle Hart here. So
this is nice. Oh, they have several things about dissing. It's not dissing Christianity, but it's funny to hear.
Important to talk about exactly why we left Christianity. We've been getting a lot of messages from people asking details and specifics, and so we were a little bit hesitant on doing a video like this, but we feel that it's a part of our journey, right? Our journey to converting to Orthodox Judaism, we felt that it was necessary for us just to kind of lay out just some thoughts. And again, this isn't to try and be disrespectful, to be rude, because again, we say in all of our videos, we respect everybody's journey, we respect where people are in their faith walk. Again, this is part of our transition, and so we want to kind of talk about how we used to think. What were some of the things?
Like, how can you watch them and not fall in love? Like, they're so incredibly, like, amazingly cute.
In Christianity that stood out to us, that made us want to transition and to start thinking a little bit differently.
Hey guys, we just want to mention as well too that we will be using our phone for some notes because we do have some key points that we want to mention that really help us make our decision to transition into Judaism.
So like we said before, we were Christians. We were very strong, devout Christians. And as we began to start asking questions, a lot of different things started to pop out.
I was like still wearing.
And
can wear
we had
whatever
to
they
deal
want.
with it.
Come on.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we started thinking about was during the time of the New Testament, the only books that they had at that time was the Tanakh, right? And so for those who don't know, the Tanakh is what Christianity calls the Old Testament. So,
by the way, out of all the Old Testaments, the Protestants have the most similar, the most similar to the Tanakh that we have is what the Protestants are using. Other sects of Christianity, their Bible is a bit different, is more different.
The Tanakh is the 5 books of Moses, the writings, and the prophets.
So we started thinking that if these were the books that the Jewish people had, then obviously this is what they were learning from.
During that time, there was no New Testament.
Exactly.
The New Testament wasn't, the books of the New Testament wasn't written until years later after Jesus' death, and it wasn't canonized until until the 4th century. So we said this must be the authoritative book of that time.
Exactly.
So what is that book?
During that time when we were trying to figure out what is that book, we never heard of the Tanakh, right? We never heard of Torah. So it was really new to us. And so we really wanted to dive deeper and go, okay, what is this all about?
Right.
Why haven't we been taught this?
And it was interesting because when we got our hands on a Tanakh, right, which is the Jewish scriptures, then we compared it to our King James version or our new or NIV version, right, or any Christian Bible. We held it up together and it was different.
Yeah.
And that was a big shock for us.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't have been different.
We just didn't understand, like, why is this so different? Why would something be so different that Jesus talked about and what he said he learned from?
Like the order was changed. And that made us ask questions. Why is the order changed, right? And like in the Christian Bible, in the Old Testament, you have the Old Testament ending with Malachi. But then in the Jewish Bible, it ended with 2nd Chronicles. And so these were things that just raised eyebrows. And I said, it shouldn't be different. It should be the same thing across the board, you know? So as we started learning more, you go into books like Deuteronomy where it talks about God saying, don't add or take away from anything that I command you, right?
Yeah.
Meaning,
Well, when it comes to canonizing the Bible, it wasn't as straightforward. It wasn't that straightforward. It's just different choices, to be honest. And there are books that could have been canonized and haven't been canonized. The Tanakh is a lot of different books, like, you know. It's not, I think it's not a real issue, except I don't really understand, and I never really studied why is it ordered so weirdly, to me at least, in the Christian. But I feel like the Christian Bible is meant for more like spiritual guidance, so it orders it in a way that like gives you answers when you need help or something like that. While from what I've gathered, I didn't really read it. Like when I saw it, like, okay, if you I saw this, I opened a New Testament thinking Georgia, and the first page was like, okay, if you are having hard times, open this and that. If you are having, if you're struggling with this, then read. If you need something that makes you feel stronger, then open here. It's almost like, versus like the Tanakh, which is more, okay, though this is the, you're trying to lay the ground of the it's like it's both by genre, like literature genre. It's different in that sense, and it's more chronological, but not really chronological. But there is I feel like the most like significant part is the genre, and then chronological, something like that would be the reason it is like that.
Don't take away from this book. Don't add to it. That was simple to understand for us.
Yeah.
Right, and then you go into Psalms where it talks about the Torah is perfect, and so these were just simple understandings for us, and we looked at our situation.
So this is also important to understand, like, why is there difference between the Torah and the Tanakh, right? The Torah is just the Pentateuch, it's just the first 5 books.
Or what was in front of us, and there was clearly an addition to the Jewish scriptures.
And I think that's the thing, like Ladero made a point, was like it was simple for us to understand.
Oh, Gado, Gametzleno. Okay, somebody here, we have it too. Yes, we have it too, but that was not like the main way we necessarily like ordered the book.
I think we never tried to fight it or tried to argue what was said. We looked at it, we were intrigued, and then we just dove deeper into, what does this necessarily mean? We just wanted to have this deeper understanding. We had an open mind and an open heart to want to learn. So that's something that we definitely want to express, is that, on this journey, we were very open to learning.
I mean, one thing that was very clear was that the New Testament was legit attached on to the Jewish Bible, right? Which was interesting to us because the Torah clearly said, not to add anything to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then again, it's perfect.
So here's the question. Okay, maybe I should see. Aren't the 5 books of the Torah, are they separated in the Bible, the Christian Bible? Are they not like together? Let me see. This is the one. What happened? What? Bible. Oh, yeah. Are they separated? I think there is a section here that describes the way it's ordered. So, Old Testament, history, wisdom, prophets, appendix. But that's the old. Is it mixed between the New Testament or the? They are separated. Like, I mean, when I say separated, I mean like, is there content between? Like, you have the Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. Are there like segments of the New Testament in between the segments of the Torah? This is what I'm asking for you people. Yes, it is separated. Where is this part? Come on, make it easy to read. Let's see. Order. This is Judaism. Okay. This is Ktuvim. No, I want to see the Christian part. Where's the Christian? Is this the... Here, in Catholic prayer, the same 20th Testament, they are ordered differently. Okay, so I'm so confused. How is it ordered? Okay, I can see the New Testament, but how is the Bible ordered? You guys know how to what to search for me to find it? Like, okay, because the Bible that I saw in Georgia was like you have a part of the New Testament and then you have Genesis, part of the New Testament and then you have another book, like something like that. So is it normal? Is it every Bible like that, or was this Bible different from than others? So my question is the Bible that I found, the Tanakh, the New Testament, they're separate? So the Old Testament and the New Testament are just like on top of each other, not like mixed the way I saw. Okay, so it was weird, right? Like, okay, that Bible is just different. All right. Okay. I don't know. You guys are saying different things. All right. Okay, there is no mix.
No,
Okay, so
like,
it was just a weird Bible. I found a weird Bible. That confused me. Okay.
like why does it need to be changed?
Yeah.
You start.
So I don't feel like it's change. It's like a tosafta. It's like an addition. Which then the problem is it's not like that. It's not like we don't have it in Judaism either. It's not that it just like we act as if it's an elaboration, addition, whatever. Like the Talmud, the Mishnah, the Tosafta, the Gemara, the Mosar, they are all additions.
Start seeing that, man, there's a lot of differences. Like, I mean, besides the fact that a lot of the books are out of order and things like that, but then you start coming across a lot of mistranslations. I mean,
A lot.
I mean, we don't have enough video footage, to.
So when it comes to the mistranslations, I think the one that hurt me the most that I saw. By the way, I'm sure that there are so many different translations, but the one is that there is a different version. So Al te'neber echad sheker ve'en al te'neber echad et shav. So do not don't give false testimony, and also there is like don't give a testimony in vain. So the fact, and those two were translated to false testimony twice, but to me it was like, okay, this is not being genuine because there is a difference and it's the 10 Commandments, but there is a difference between the two versions.
To go through that, and this isn't being disrespectful, but it's something that you can just kind of look up. But like, for example, one thing that really got us, we were looking at Matthew 2, I believe 13, somewhere around there, where it says, the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. He said, get up, take the child and his mother to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search search for the child to kill him. So he got up, took the child and his mother, and by night, and went to Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. This fulfilled what the Lord had spoken through the prophet, out of Egypt I called my son. So we started learning that anytime that the New Testament says, and this fulfilled what God said, or God was spoken through by the prophet, that was clearly referring to one of the prophets, right? It was simple to understand that. So what do? We started looking through the New Testament and finding every time a prophet was quoted, right? Or it would say something like, this was fulfilled by such and such, or this event happening was a fulfillment.
So, okay, so I'm gonna say it a bit different. What I feel that Judaism has, that Christianity doesn't have that much, is room for debate. There are sectors in Judaism that try to minimize debate, but in general, it's not very authentic. The thing is that there is a lot of debate when it comes to Judaism. So you can always argue and you can always learn more and change perspective and reevaluate things. And like, it's an ever evolving. And but by the way, I feel like some of the Hasidic communities also like did that. It's like they turned a lot of things that the Rambam, like it turned it to faith-based. Like to me, the fact like, okay, you have to believe in the Mashiach. It's like, no, you don't. No, if you are really genuinely following the Bible, no, you don't. It's not really that clear at all. It was just something that was popular and during the time of Chazal, but only because they were in a certain dire situation where they felt this is the only way of that they can have salvation. But that is not necessarily the right thing to do, if you ask me, because why did you leave Egypt? You left Egypt and you were wandering around to learn the responsibility, right? To learn how to act as a nation. So this is just having that's reverting to a mind of a toddler. Like, why did you go through everything that we went through during the Torah if you're gonna go back to, we gonna cry for a savior, and then when the savior comes and it's like, oh no, the meat is gonna go back to this kind of complaining. It's like, seriously, like, shouldn't we like be better than that? Like, didn't we learn anything? So yeah, this is why it really bothers me that those elements are being added, because I feel like they come in contradiction to what the spirit of the Torah is about, if you ask me. It really bothers me. And when it comes to so Christianity and Hasid, a lot of things like so that are so faith-based, I feel like they get counterproductive because they don't evolve, and it's not necessarily true. So the thing with Jesus is that because it's so set in stone, is like, what if one day they would find the grave and it would be like a body, like, you know, like the bones, and everything that Jesus had said would be like right there next to him. Obviously that would be like, okay, so did Jesus resurrect or did he not? Because we just found his grave and body. So what would that do to Christianity? And to me, like, having something like that, okay, that blinds you, you know? It's like, if that's a possibility, then that breaks down Christianity. And to me, that blinds you. And same with the Judaism. It's like, if there is a plausible situation that breaks up Judaism, then that's not a truth, and that's not something that's strong enough to be there for a long time. So to me, it's like, okay, if you become something that is so faith-based, and it's like, okay, you cannot and you will not budge, and there is no room for real debate and discussion for what was true and real, because you cannot speak for God. This is the first two commandments, right? Like, do not say what God can or cannot do, and don't like speak for God. So once you're like determined that the only way for the Jewish nation to fight back against their enemies is to do this or do that, because it's faith-based, then that's to me like, okay, you're just being a heretic, if you ask me. That's my perspective.
Fulfillment of what was spoken of by the prophet.
Yeah.
So what do? You go to that prophet and you see what it said.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. Hosea, right? And that's the English way to say it. 11, it clearly says this. When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son. That has nothing to do with Jesus at all, right?
Yeah, and so, okay, coming from a background of Christianity, that's where a lot of the Christians get a lot of the stuff mixed up, and they say that prophecy had to do with, JC, which had nothing to do with him. That's why it's important that we had to understand, coming from the Torah and Tanakh and understanding the prophets, because in Christianity, you are
I'm vibing to the music they put as a background. I was like,
taught that the Old Testament, which is the Tanakh, is done away with. So in our minds, we're not thinking, oh, this is something that's important. We need to reference this.
Right.
We need to go back to this, which is the key thing. If you don't go back to that, then you have no idea then what you're reading or understanding.
One thing that caused us to raise an eyebrow was the fact that Jesus was a Jew.
Exactly.
And he, according to the New Testament, he did some Jewish things. And so we were confused as to why we were celebrating Christmas and he didn't. We were confused as to why we were celebrating Easter and he didn't celebrate Easter. If anything, it was a Pesach. If anything, it was a Hanukkah.
Yeah.
And so these were just, again, questions that were it was mind-boggling, because I'm like, well, we're following this man, we're worshiping this man, but we're really not doing anything that he did. So that was interesting for us.
Yeah, we were actually really wondering, like, why are we following more of Paul's teachings than Jesus's teachings?
Yeah, I also find it interesting to me as curiosity. Like, if Jesus' Last Supper was a Passover, why do Christians do not celebrate Passover then? It's kind of interesting, weird.
So it was very interesting to us, because a lot of the stuff that we were doing came from Paul.
She mentioned Paul.
Yeah.
So it says, Jesus claimed that he did not intend to change the law of Moses, right? So I'm just kind of piggyback on what she said, right? It said, "Think not that I have come to abolish the law," which he meant the Torah, and the prophets. "I have not come to abolish them, but I come to fulfill it. Truly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, not an iota, not a dot will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Whoever then breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men to do so shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven." Right? I believe that's Matthew 5. The crazy thing is this: Paul started teaching the opposite of this.
I see people are saying it's called Easter. No, you don't. You don't celebrate. Easter is when the resurrection of God. It's not the actual God of Jesus. It's not Passover. It's not the same.
Literally taught that the law was done away with, and right. So there was Paul was saying one thing,
right,
and then Jesus was saying a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So the things weren't lining up.
Exactly.
Right. So we said in our videos before that a lot of things.
This is something that Paul was Jewish, right? It's like, you read Jesus, I don't know, his Jewishness just oozing out of him. When you read Paul, it's like, weird.
Things just wasn't making sense, and these are some of the things that we're talking about now, right? That's why we wanted to do a video.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, we're doing this video. This video is so that you guys have an understanding of our transition and some of the things.
By the way, if you follow, so the thing with this Judaism, as you cannot leave Judaism, is a modern concept from the Middle Ages. So back then, back when Paul, you could kick out people of your club. So you can be like, oh, kick Jews out of the club if they're not really being Jewish. That was a possibility. That doesn't really exist now, because everybody are afraid to return. But the thing is, now is that if people see themselves as belong to a different religion, they don't have the right to come to Israel. Even if their mother is Jewish, if they converted to Christianity, they cannot come. They do not have the right to get Israeli citizenship. So there is a kind of a way out now, but they can, in theory, go back to being Jewish without having to convert.
Things that we were thinking, right? This is not to bash any Christians. If there's Christians that are watching this, this is not our heart at all, our intentions. This is our story. This is why we went down the road of Judaism and why we are transitioning into converting into Judaism is because things just.
Wait, I wanna see. There is one annoying mukau. Read, learn about blah 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 Jewish rabbis. Why is the exact transition? But why is the transition? There were several, like the Torah. It took time for it to get canonized. There are different versions of it. The ones that in the Qumran, for example, they have different versions, like very similar, very very similar, but a little bit different. Jax, just because. Oh, thank you, Jax. I love you. Like it makes sense. Those are books that describe the Jewish history. It makes sense that people would have a little bit of different versions. And even when it comes to like the way the Torah was edited, right? There are several versions of the same story because they couldn't decide on which one to settle on. So they bring the same story twice. You know, it's okay.
It's just not making sense. We did a lot of studying. We did a lot of, comparison and questioning, right? And so we say all of that because we just know that, some people come in here and they're trying to convince us that we're wrong. And, they're trying to evangelize to us. And that's, guys, we're just asking that you don't come into our page and comment in doing that. And our heart is not to...
I don't know why was this obsession with having one version of something, one version of a Torah, one version. Why would there, obviously, when you copy things that go from generation to generation, then some things are going to change. For example, there are funny mistakes that had been copied, like not putting the space between the right letters, and then it for generations, like, this sentence is so weird, until one day they found in the Qumran the same sentence and it had spacing that actually made sense. It was like, oh, now it sounds like Hebrew. It's like before, it's like there's something weird here, like, but there's like they just move a space in one letter that was appendixed to the next next word instead of being part of the last word. It went from being a weird sentence to something you can actually read, which is funny. But the Torah, it summarizes 1,000, like the Torah and the Torah Bible. They all summarize the thousands of years of history. Like, of course, it's gonna be different. There are gonna be different versions. It took time for it to get canonized. Like, the reason they made it so strict is that people would have the same version, and it's just to preserve it better as well. And also they had it's been edited many times and things like that. So I don't know why it's like there is an obsession with it being like it's something that doesn't exist anywhere else. It's like it summarizes and brings and it's history that was kept for a really long time, so that has its own merit.
Like, bash you and your belief. Our heart is to just share our journey and our story and why things just didn't align for us as far.
Does Judah are they applied there 6? You have no idea what you're talking about. How are they? First of all, it's an arbitrary number with arbitrary laws. And second of all, if you'd actually know what you were talking about, you'd know that you cannot follow all of them in any way, shape, or form. Technically, you cannot. So it's ridiculous.
Far as with the Christian faith.
I'm going to read this, which was interesting. So the Torah itself clearly states in many places that its laws are eternal. never to be abolished. And even the Christians acknowledge that the Jewish Bible is the Word of God. If the Torah is eternal and Jesus himself claims to have no intentions of abolishing or changing it, why do the Christians celebrate the Sabbath on Sunday when God clearly calls the Saturday Sabbath an eternal covenant? Why do Christians eat pig when the Torah forbids it?
By the way, there is also a difference between the commandment when it comes to the Sabbath. So it says remember, and then it says keep. Like you have two different versions. One version says remember, and the other says keep the Sabbath.
But what reason can Christians give for not celebrating Rosh Hashanah and Yom?
By the way, I can give you a reason why you like. It's not necessarily that you can, like the reason you were forbidden to eat pig. Maybe it was because of ecological reasons. Maybe it's because of some, I don't know, like because they make a lot of sound when you kill them, so it was very unpleasant, and people didn't like the noise, so they forbade eating pig. Should it be true for every society ever? I don't think so, to be honest. So, in that sense, like this is like Paul that wanted to but they're also making aliyah. This is why I'm said like it's very tied up with being in Israel, and not everybody can live in Israel. Not everybody has to live in Israel, so it doesn't make sense for the whole world to not eat pork just because it says so or it was part of the Jewish tradition. Jax, thank you so much for giving 5 memberships. You're amazing. So yeah, I don't know. It's like those things were never meant to be international.
Yom Kippur, which are clearly spelled out in the Torah. This same argument applies to hundreds of other Torah laws that are ignored by Christians, right? And so this is, again, these are things that we just thought about, right? Like the Torah clearly forbids, don't eat pig. You can't eat it. But then...
Pork spoil quick in the heat, bad pork kills. Maybe. I don't know. Matt Carter is an expert. So why are you talking like Europeans are fake? What are you talking about? Is there any Jew that thinks that every person on earth has to follow, doesn't have to eat pork? No, Jews don't believe in that, and they believe that different nations have different purposes. That not everybody has to be part of the Jewish nation. It's not something that is part of the Jewish faith. So why would a Jew believe that everyone should not eat pork? It's weird. But it's also weird to have this middle way situation where you are not here, nor there, and this entanglement with the Jewish people at the same time. It's like this midway situation is puts us like in a bad spot, like in a weird position where it's like,
On Sunday dinners, we eating bacon. You know what I mean? We tearing it up on burgers, right? We eating bacon and eggs. We putting bacon on. We got bacon on the pizza. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that was my favorite.
Hungry Howie's all day. So it was like it's just not adding up. Like why were we going to church on Sunday?
Yeah, it doesn't add up if you're a genuine person who wants to genuinely follow Jesus, who was a Jew. That's weird. There is something inherently weird about it, if you ask me. But like I said, it makes perfect sense because they're also moving to Israel. So it makes sense to me that they would convert. So they want to be part of the Jewish nation. The whole process of converting to Judaism and everything, the way it is in the Tanakh, it is clearly part of getting a citizenship. It's how you get citizenship in Judaism is this conversion process is why you have to be part of so during the exile it became the reason it happens is just a shadow of the original, but the original was getting citizenship, is getting being part of the nation, being part of the people. It's as if you know, the thing is that the story is that who is the Jewish nation? It was a lot of Erev Rav, mostly Israelites, but also other nations. But we all received the Torah, the Torah. We also received the Torah, you know, in the Mount Sinai. They all received the commandments or the Asata Debrot, the together. We all recognize that those basic axioms together. So what happens is like the question that arises, but what if this person is not a descendant of somebody who got it? They're like, okay, so their soul was there. So this is the reasoning. But it is being part of a nation. It's part of a people.
I mean, nowhere, like where it says nowhere in the Tanakh.
So this is really like this could talk about converting to Judaism. I think it's really important to understand this part is you don't convert just because you know, I don't know how to say, like, because it sounds cool or something. No, you convert because you want to be part of a nation, and part of people, part of something. It's not something that you can necessarily like, okay, I converted, and then like you're the only, like you're one person in somewhere. It's really not meant for it. You can take whatever you want out of Judaism and just like apply it to your own life. It's your choice. There is no reason really to necessarily convert. It's like there is no reason. It's like why converting Judaism is different.
Not in the Torah anywhere to worship on, like, or to go to church or to worship on that day. Why were we learning a Greek scripture?
Yeah.
Like, what was the original language of the Bible? It was Hebrew. So if we really wanted to get an understanding of what the Bible was talking about, the only way that we can understand it was to learn it in its original language rather than learning it from a translation. You have to learn it in the original language.
So I think their dedication is like super important. Like, yes, part of it is learning Hebrew. Part of it is like when you join a nation, you learn a new language. It makes sense. By the way, same, Islam kept it. Islam kept that part, right? They are like, they have a ummah. And like part of it is that you have to learn Arabic to become part of the ummah. So, but it's an Arabization process. But the Arabization process of Islam is completely engulfing the whole world, right? There is no limit. There are no borders. But in Judaism, the Jewish nation is like, no, we are a nation then there are other nations. And we have our borders. It's not like a worldwide thing. It's even like those who believe in Messiah and stuff like that. The way it's described is like all those rules that are very localized are gonna get canceled if Judaism becomes like a global religion. So it's another version of it. It's like those who believe it should, like the Messiah, like the whole people become Jewish. But when all nations become Jewish, then they're gonna drop a lot of the laws. So the like eating pork is like probably something that's gonna get dropped because you don't need it, because it's localized. Those things are localized. So so I don't know. It's like, yes, there is something that is supposed to be global. There are things that Judaism believes is supposed to be global, but there is our stories are our stories, and other people have their own stories. The only thing that's important is like this concept of having one God, like not having idolatry and things like that. This is just saying there is one morality, one moral code. All humans were created equal. Like this is something that has to be global. Human rights have to be global. Things like that have to be global, according to Judaism. Eating pork, that's like specifically a Jewish nation thing.
At this meeting, this is where they decided the divine nature of Jesus, mandating Easter and all these different things. And so I'm like, this stuff is available for us to learn. I'm like, and it's just made common sense for us to start now.
So why am I saying all that? Because it's important to understand that converting to Judaism is not something that is logical to do according to Judaism. It's not a logical thing to do. It doesn't make sense to do that just for, unless you have a really, really good reason for it. And if you really, really want it, you really want to be part of the Jewish nation. Like, there is no reason, there is no why. Like, this is like, why do we want to convert? Like, this is why the rabbis are gonna put, like, why? Like, why? There is nothing wrong with you being whoever you are.
Now thinking twice about the religion that we were in.
Yeah.
So as we're learning this stuff, you're going to, now you're starting to think about, why is Jesus the Messiah? Why do we believe that he's our savior and all these different things? So during the time of his life, they already had an understanding about the qualifications of the Jewish Messiah. Where did they get that from? They got it from the Tanakh. The Tanakh has all the qualifications. It talks about all the different things, which I'm about to list out right now. It talks about what to expect. It talks about what the Messiah is going to do. Mm-hmm. And so once you have the criteria, then anyone who comes to claim to be the Messiah, hold them up to the criteria. And if it matches, then boom, there you go. But if not, then for us, it wasn't nothing to really argue about.
That was the big one for us when we had to find out the criteria of the true Messiah and did that comparison, and it was just like, okay, well, he didn't fulfill any of that, so it made no sense to us that he was, right? So just so many things had our mind just blown away of what we were believing in, why we believed in it, and why it was not making sense anymore for us.
So here are the qualifications. The Bible says that he's going to build the third temple. Mm-hmm. So the true Messiah is going to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. But Jesus lived while the temple was still standing. If an individual claiming to be the Messiah fails to fulfill at least one of the qualifications, it cancels him out.
Yeah.
The Jewish Messiah is expected to return all the Jews to their land. Well, Jesus was born while the Jews were still living in their land, before they had gone into exile. So he could not restore them to their land because they were still there. They were still living in it. So the Jewish Messiah is going to usher in an era of world peace. It's going to end all the hatred. Yeah. When Jesus was here, a whole bunch of hatred and oppression erupted. There was so much craziness that happened. We didn't get world peace when he came.
Or when he passed.
Another qualification is the Messiah is going to spread the universal knowledge of God. Mm-hmm. So another criteria.
Somebody here said that the Jews are a family. Yes, they are a family, but they're also a nation. I think, wait, what is the exact, let me find the exact quote. Yeah. Here, so there is this description of in Rivka, like there are two nations inside of you. So in that sense, like the nation of Israel versus, like here, there are two nations and two leomim nationalities. Yeah. Anyway. Leom now is used as nationality, so I guess this is something similar. Somebody says, I appreciate Rebecca sharing the video. I just don't believe that those two are righteous converts. That's all. That's okay. That would make them as righteous as the average Jews then, right? Like, who is righteous?
here is that he's going to come from the line of David through Solomon. So it never says that he's going to be born of a virgin, and that's a whole other thing. That's another mistranslation. Like the Tanakh doesn't say anything. That particular passage doesn't say virgin. It says young woman, right? And so that was another reason that we were excited about learning Hebrew, because when you learn the original, then you can, then when a counterfeit shows up,
Exactly.
you don't have to question it, because you know the original. So that was another mistranslation. It says nothing about a virgin. So nowhere does the Bible predict that.
Okay, so I found the word Ummah specifically. So Ummah became a very the most used kind of word during the writing of the Talmud. So they usually used Ummah as in nationality or nation, but it's also in the Bible it was used to describe a clan. So the specific use, like usually Jews are also described like as a family, goy, or nation or nationality. But the use of the word Ummah specifically became also popular. It also used like twice in the Old Testament, but became popular word later on in the Talmud and things like that.
That the Messiah will be born of a virgin. In fact, virgins never give birth anywhere in the Bible. This idea is to be found only in pagan mythology. And to the Jewish mind, the very idea that God will plant a seed in a woman is unnecessary and unnatural. After all, what is accomplished by this claim? What positive purpose does it serve? The claim that Mary did not have natural relations with her husband must have made the Jews of that time suspect of wrongdoing. The New Testament...
See, they're converting a lot, I think, out of... So they used to have... So that's interesting, because what they're saying is like why they lost the faith. So they decided to join the Jewish peoplehood. So I guess but it is like a faith-based still to some.
Testament, Christian Bible, admits as much when it says in Matthew 1:19 that then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to shame her in public, decided to divorce her quietly. The whole idea of a virgin birth serves no purpose except to attract pagans to Christianity. It serves no purpose. Plus, if Jesus was born of a virgin, that would mean that Joseph isn't his real father, right? Or isn't his natural father, right? So that would cancel him out of coming from the line of David, because the Messiah has to come through the line of David.
See, this is something that I also said, I feel like when I talk to IP, when you talk about Christianity, like, why does it even matter, those things? Like, to me, they're like, if Jesus said some things that are smart, then shouldn't we just talk about what the actual content of his words were? Like, the actual things he said, like, but the focus is on, when it comes to a lot of people that I feel is like, no, it's like, no, that they're like this, you have to believe in Jesus as God. Like, why, what about just listening? It's like, oh, here's some wise words. Like, does it really matter who carried the content? Like, that's the book cover more important than the words inside of it. So I just don't get this kind of line of thinking that much, to be honest. This is why I don't see myself as being faith-based person. I just want to say, like, okay, if there is something of value, I don't care who said it. I don't care if it's the Buddha, if it's Muhammad, or if it's Jesus. It's like, okay, if there's something that makes me think and be like, okay, I can see the situation where this would make me feel better. Like, why do I have to believe that the person that said what they said had some mystical powers? Like, why does it matter? What would make it any different if I believed in it or not?
So how can he be the Messiah if he was miraculously implanted into a woman? And And so for us, because we asked questions, we are so thankful that we were able to find out what truth meant to us.
Right.
Right, and that led us to Orthodox Judaism. And after learning all that stuff, we said Christianity isn't for us. Did our family agree with it? A lot of them didn't. I'll be honest, but at the end of the day, they respect our decision, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, so that's the thing for me, that in converting to Judaism, the most important thing, that yes, there is faith, I get it, but if you need so much if you need faith in the carrier, then you become obsessed with the carrier more than you are obsessed with the words, then what's the point then? What's the point? Anyway, you guys, somebody is asking, you don't sleep, Rebecca? I guess that is my clue. Yeah, guys, I want to have any last comments before we go to sleep? No, good. He was born of a virgin because he had to keep his sinless divinity in the flesh of a human, 100% God and 100%. Yeah, that's just so weird. So weird. Like, really? Do humans, just as humans who are being born the normal way, do they not matter? Really? Do they not matter? It doesn't matter? It doesn't matter what normal people say? Because, like, there is some wisdom in all of us. So, like, how limiting that is. How limiting, and how completely, like, why is having relations a sin? Why? This is so unhealthy for you to feel that way. So unhealthy. That's what I feel. Anyway, really, as long as you respect that, I can respect your thinking as well. But seriously, I feel like there's something, whatever. Not my place to judge. All right. Good night, everybody. See you. Oh, I think, wait, did Jax, when did you? No, I think I said it all right. Okay. And those who want to convert, just know that it means being part of a nation. It's fun. That's it.